All right, everybody, thanks for joining us for another Modern Agent Blueprint. And I'm going to let, I don't have my normal co-host, Nicole. She was in Italy for a week and she had a closing that she had to attend. So my co-host is one of my closest friends and, business partner, Randy Toby. And Randy is good friends with our special guest today. So I'm going to let Randy go ahead and introduce our amazing special guest today.
Yeah, thanks, Lee. And excited to be here. When Nicole asked me, I was honored. And I've never hosted this group, but I'm very appreciative of all you guys' time today. And I was very excited when she told me who the guest was, because Chelsea and I have known each other for a long time. She is by far one of the, if not the subject matter expert when it comes to social media marketing, and I've seen her speak dozens of times. You literally could not have a better host to really break down what's going on in social media, how to market yourself, what type of content to create. So get your pens, get your paper, take some notes, because she'll bring the fire for sure. And then we're gonna ask some questions too. We're gonna talk about a little bit now with AI being introduced. I'm sure she's got some stuff to talk about there, which is gonna be really important. So Chelsea, the floor is yours.
Good morning, everyone. Super excited to be here. Thanks for the awesome intro, Randy. And we are going to talk about all things social media, from what's trending, what never trends, what always stays the same. And of course, I'm going to talk about video, because I'm really passionate about creating content that can make a stranger feel like they already know you. And my background is in real estate. I was licensed for 18 years. And I always kind of laugh and chuckle when I tell people that I got licensed in 2001 BF, and the BF stands for before Facebook. So I did business the old fashioned way before video was a thing for many, many years. And I'm, full transparency, I am an overthinker when it comes to all things in life. And so if you identify with the feeling of being overwhelmed by content, overthinking your content ideas and your videos, welcome. I am your people. And I'm here to share some of the strategies that I wish I had in the beginning of my early video days, because you've probably heard from many people that the only way to get better at video is to literally just keep doing it. And I will tell you that that strategy does in fact work. We call it exposure therapy. It's facing your fears and sweating your way through it. And I did that for a long, long time. And I will tell you that I didn't watch myself back for 5 years. I don't recommend that. I wish I could go back to my old me and say, listen, if you want to get better at this video thing, and if you want to get more comfortable, and if you want to feel like your real self, we're going to have to watch it, as painful as that may sound. So if you're identifying or resonating with any of those feelings of that ick, that cringe, that misalignment of this human that you're seeing on the recording and who you are in real life, I'm here to help you with that today. I wanted to talk about sort of my three-pronged approach to video in 2023. And this was really born out of someone asking me, what the heck do I need to do this year to be successful? And I tried to boil this down to just one bullet point. And my bullet point is this: I personally believe that your success this year is determined by one single thing, and it's how well your content shows people who you really are. We are absolutely in a world, as you are right now, you're either watching this on Facebook or you're on Zoom, where we're never going back to non-digital. Randy mentioned AI. That is something that we've been hearing a lot about, and I'm excited that we want to talk about that today as well. So we have to figure out, how can we show up as the most human possible through technology? Because what's happening is people are going to look at your brand. And a lot of people ask me, what is a personal brand? My belief is that it's my perception of my relationship with you. And are people able to scan your content library? Are they able to watch your videos and feel some sort of connection? So I'm talking a lot about feelings there and emotions, and we'll talk a little bit about how to get to that point where you do feel like you're showing up authentically with heart and humanity and not hustle and hack. So the way that I structure my 3-pronged video approach is I'm kind of thinking of, all right, if I only had to make 3 types of videos for the rest of the year, or maybe it's the rest of the decade, who knows? What would I want to make? What would I need to make, and why? And I'm a big believer in understanding the why behind things that we're doing, because when I know the why, I have that aha moment where I'm like, oh, okay, I can get behind this. Now I know why we're doing this and how it's going to help me and how to break it down. So I'm going to give you 3 different categories, and I'm going to share my screen in a minute, but if you're taking notes, write these down. So there's 3 areas that I like to help my clients focus on when it comes to video. The first one is confidence. Confidence. So we've got to build your comfort level with your recorded self and aligning it with the real you. Because a lot of coaches are out there saying, you know, you've got to show up authentically. And I'm here to tell you that that confused me for years, because showing up authentically when you're looking into a device and talking to no one is difficult. And I was really struggling with figuring out, well, what does that mean, showing up and being authentic? And now people give me this huge compliment and say, oh my gosh, you are just like you are on video when they meet me. And that took years to evolve and develop. I didn't just open up the camera and all of a sudden I'm standing in my kitchen in the morning with bedhead and having my coffee. That took me a while to evolve to, and it actually happened by accident. So the reason I want to develop your comfort level on camera, your camera confidence, is when people consume your content and they don't know you. So this is going to be a stranger. Maybe they see your TikTok or your reel or your YouTube video. These people are going to immediately go to your profile and they're going to scan your content library. And this very strange thing happens in a matter of seconds. So we do this all the time, whether we're on Expedia looking for hotels, we're on Netflix looking for something to watch. We're making an assessment of, are you who you say you are? Are you a real person? Can I trust you? And are you competent? Do you actually know what you're talking about? And can I identify your area of expertise? And I know that's a lot to say that your content is going to do this for you in a matter of seconds. But what we do is we land on someone's profile and we scan. And we're trying to see, is this you? So if I don't see your face in your content, or I don't hear your voice in your content, that's going to be a challenge, because my brain needs that to connect with you and develop trust. The other area is, do you have any expertise? Are you competent? And what happens when you show up in your content and you're not confident? People's perception of you is that you're not competent. It's really wild. So there's been studies that have been done on that. So my first goal is to build your camera confidence. The second layer is, once we've gotten you comfortable on camera and we've gotten you aligned with your recorded self and the real you, and you're feeling more authentic and you're feeling like you've built this habit and you're having a positive feedback loop and you're wanting to do this again and again, then we have to think about, all right, we're going to start creating content that is going to create relationships. And when we create relationships, it's going to lead to more conversions. So step number 2 is conversions. So we're going to go from confidence to conversions, because what is the point of creating content or putting yourself out there if you're not making real relationships that lead to business? And I don't know if anybody else resonates with this, but when I was a realtor 23 years ago, remember, we didn't have social media. So I had to have your phone number and call you. And you actually had to answer, or I had to mail you something, or I had to email you something. And oftentimes I would start to get really anxious when it was time to promote myself and to ask for referrals, because maybe I hadn't talked to that person in a while. And there was this sense, at least for me, that I felt like, gosh, I feel kind of awkward. I haven't talked to this person in weeks or months. And now I'm supposed to call them and, remind them that I'm here and available to help them. And so I would avoid those kinds of calls and engagements because I felt awkward and nervous and anxious. And so this strategy that I'm going to teach you is going to be the easiest conversions ever, because I'm going to help you learn how to tell people you're in real estate without telling people you're in real estate. And the last step is going to be about captivating. So write down captivate. If you've noticed, we've got a theme going on. They all start with the letter C. So confidence, conversion, and captivate. Now the captivate part is, now that we've built these two foundational areas, we also have to think about, okay, how can we go outside of the community that we've already built? If you're by referral only, I love that for you. I was by referral. I loved my database, my humans that I was connecting with. And also, I also knew that the value was in attracting new people. Now, that was kind of harder to do back in the old days before social media, but now it's so incredibly easy to get your content in front of new human beings who don't actually follow you yet, but are really interested in your particular topic. And I'm going to explain how that works as well. So our three categories: confidence, conversion, captivate. So let me share the screen, and I'm going to teach you my favorite strategy for confidence. Okay, let's go up here. So the first step is what I call the one-to-one video formula. And I actually have a visual coming up. So if you like visuals, you're more than welcome to take a picture of it. You can actually write it down if you want to. The goal here is to eliminate excuses, because I don't know about you, but I have a ton of excuses. If the weather's not right, I'm not going to the gym that day. If there's a drop of rain, oh my gosh, forget it, right? And so I generally tend to make up a lot of excuses. And I found myself making these excuses around creating video content. And it sounded like this. Oh, yeah, no, I don't have time to write a script today, so I'll just do that next week. Oh, I don't have my studio or my office today, or I'm traveling, and so I can't possibly make a video because I'm so used to making it, or I have to make it in this one particular area. I don't have my lighting. I don't have my ring lights. I don't have a videographer. I don't have time to edit. All of these things I would tell myself, and I would keep pushing off videos. So the one thing I need you to do is to eliminate excuses. We have our phone and we have social media, and that is literally all we need. You do not need to edit. You do not need a script. And I'm going to teach you exactly what to say when you're not sure what to say too. And I want you to get really comfortable with, I can create a piece of content from anywhere, whether it's walking your dog in the morning and you take your phone out and shoot a quick little video. I also was struggling with for years this mindset that I had to show up as a persona of myself. I had to show up as this authoritative expert who knew everything. And that meant having a specific style of edited videos and or scripting. So we want to eliminate those excuses, and we also want to start getting you more comfortable, because what happens when you record a video, you're going to usually experience what I call the ick factor. You hate your voice. You don't like how you look. You feel like that's me, but it just doesn't quite feel like the real me. So I want to give you a couple of reasons why this is happening. Number one reason is if you are memorizing a script. And I am a scripter. I like to write out all of my stuff. That's how my brain works. But what happens with scripts is oftentimes we're trying to memorize the whole darn thing. And your mouth might be on the intro, but your brain is on bullet point number 3. And what happens when you're memorizing a script, a different part of your brain is activated than when you're actually talking to someone and present with them. And what you'll notice is that your voice tone changes. It actually stops going up and down like it normally does when you're talking casually with someone, and it kind of starts to sound monotone. And your eyes kind of deaden a little bit because you're kind of just staring because your brain's trying to remember. And then you lose the warmth cues in your face. And then when you watch that video back, you're like, that is me, but it doesn't quite look like me. And then it kind of feels like this robotic version of yourself because you're scripting 3 reasons that you need to move to blah, 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 blah. Oftentimes you're trying to take it in one take too. And so I know what that's like to re-record. And when you get almost to the end, you're like, darn it, now I got to re-record the whole thing. And if you re-recorded something 30 times, you're basically scripting it. You're remembering it in your head and you're just trying to get through it. Another reason this happens is if you're using a teleprompter. Again, an awesome tool as long as you have a skill set to read it, make it your own, and emote while you're doing it. My very good friend is a former newscaster. It took her 3 to 4 years to master the art of reading a teleprompter and not making it sound like she was just reading a script. What happens when we write things out or when we're reading things, usually we're typing something out and then we're putting it into a teleprompter app. What happens with that is we speak very differently than we write. And I don't know if you've ever tried to write casually, like you're talking to someone. It's challenging. And so our brains actually register, wait a minute, that isn't what somebody would normally say. So I'm not saying to not script or not use a teleprompter, but I'm letting you know that if you are watching yourself back and you are feeling that ick, that very well could be one of the reasons. And I would encourage you to put some of those things aside. And I'm going to give you a strategy to do that today. Additionally, if you're trying to copy and paste the persona or personality or perspective of another realtor that you're following in your feed, that ick will always happen. I also thought that I had to do things the way that more successful people that I was following were doing them because heck, they were successful. So if they're doing it this way, I should do it this way. And it wasn't until I started doing things my way that I really started connecting with that audience. So we're having a mismatch of when you're making a video and you're watching it back and you're getting that ick. And so to fix that, I'm going to give you the one-to-one video strategy. So here we're going to walk through each step. What is this strategy? Simply put, you're going to make one simple video. One video that's unscripted, unedited, unfiltered. I know, terrifying, right on your phone, no matter what you're doing. Remember, I want you to get comfortable of being able to make a video anywhere so that you're not in this box that you have to be in your office at this time and have the lights and all of that. I want you to make one short, unedited, unscripted video using your phone. Now, who are you going to create this video for? Like, know, trust. That's what LKT is. Like, know, and trust. For me, a like, know, and trust is somebody that I know well enough that if I ran into them at Target, I would say hello and know their first name, which is pretty hard for me because I am not good with names, right? And you're probably not good with names either. But you know what you're really good with? Faces. And that's why it gets uncomfortable when we run into somebody that we know because we know their face, but we can't remember their name, which is going to play into role number 2 when I talk about faces take you places. There's a scientific reason we don't forget faces. If I am not seeing your face, you will not build familiarity, likability, and trust with me. It's science. So I'm making this video for one person that I like, know, and trust. This could be a current client, a past client, a referral partner, anyone that you could potentially help serve in your real estate business. Ideally, I want you to be strategic with this. Now, the big thing I want you to underline when you're taking notes, this person needs to be someone that you want to be seen by more often in the future. Needs to be someone that you want to be seen by more often in the future, in the feeds. When they open it up, you want them to see you. Now, what is the actual message? Okay. I call it a visual Hallmark card. Let me give you some examples of this. This little video that you're going to send is going to be all about the other human being. That's why I want you to know them. I want you to know their name. I want you to say their name in the video. This needs to be personalized and customized. So I'm going to pretend I'm going to make a video for Randy. And when I say visual Hallmark card, what I mean by that is literally think about the cards you can send someone. I don't send a lot of cards anymore, but when I do, or when I receive them, I appreciate it. I'm like, wow, that was really nice that you were thinking of me. I appreciate that. And so anytime you go to a card section or a card store, they have happy birthday, congratulations, get well, thinking of you, gratitude, whatever, right? So I want you to think in terms of what could I give to someone today that would be all about them, make them feel seen, and just a nice thing to do. So I'm going to pretend that it's Randy's birthday. Okay, so I'm going to think of Randy. I'm going to say, okay, it's Randy's birthday today. I'm going to grab my phone and maybe I'm walking my dogs, right? Because I want you to be comfortable creating content from wherever. Walking my dogs. I got my 3 dogs. I'm going to pull out my phone. I'm going to be like, Randy, it is your birthday today, friend. And I am so excited. I wanted to wish you the happiest birthday ever. I hope you and Kelly and Vaughn are doing something great. The dogs are here to say happy birthday. Have an awesome day. Okay. That probably took me 9 seconds to make that video. And so the thing of this is when you know who you're talking to, you know exactly what to say. You don't need a script. So if you're having trouble figuring out what to say in your content, it's because you don't know who you're talking to. And also, only Randy's going to see this video. It's not going out to the world. Okay. So I don't have to worry about other people commenting. This is a safe space where I am doing something nice for another human being. And then what happens is Randy gets this message and he's like, oh, that was a nice experience. And now we have this positive feedback loop and experience with your brand. Now, what the important part of this is how you're going to send this message. So in summary, you're making one short video. It's for someone you like, know, and trust. The message is going to be a visual Hallmark card, something nice, right? All about them. And how you send this matters. This is a big takeaway for the rest of the day and how social media works. Direct message. You're going to send this video in Facebook Messenger, LinkedIn Messenger, Instagram Messenger, wherever you like to hang out. It does not matter. It works on all the platforms. But you're not going to send this in a text message and you're not going to send this in an email. And let me tell you why. I do send videos through email. I do send videos through text messages. But what I want is for your future content that you're posting on social media to work smarter and harder for you without you doing extra work. And what happens is when I send a direct message to another human being on those platforms, the algorithm wakes up and it says, whoa, wait a minute, you just sent a message to Randy and Randy actually replied. So we're going to predict that you guys both want to see more of each other in the future. So now what's going to happen is the algorithm is going to resort and reshuffle both of our feeds so that when I do post something next week that literally has nothing to do with Randy, it is maybe a market update. Maybe it's about my story of my last closing. What's going to happen is he's going to see it higher up in his feed. And then this beautiful experience of you're everywhere happens, but you're not everywhere poking at me, sending me things or sending me sales messages. What happens is I get a notification. I open my notification. I see your profile picture in your name. Oh my gosh. And then you're sending me something nice. I so appreciate that. Oh, wow. I open up my feed and your post about our neighborhood marketplace is right there. So this strategy not only boosts your camera confidence, it also boosts your algorithm. So the more that you communicate with someone proactively, the more that person is going to see your content higher up and more often in their feed. So if you want more engagement, you need to give engagement and you need to be talking to the people that you want to be seen by. Now, the other benefit of this is once you've created that video for Randy and you're saying happy birthday, you probably even noticed on my face, if you were watching, I can't say happy birthday to someone and not smile. I can't say thank you to someone and not smile. And what happens is we don't even know that it's going on in our face when we're saying that, because guess what? I wasn't thinking of how I looked or how I sounded. I was thinking of Randy and his birthday. And so now when you watch that video back, you're like, oh, that wasn't too terrible. I mean, that was me. And it was a nice thing. And I got some dopamine from it and they appreciated it. So this is the easiest way for you to start training your algorithm while doing something really nice for someone else and getting yourself accustomed to the habit of creating videos on the fly with just your phone from anywhere. So that's how you're going to address this first confidence one. One thing I do want to mention is this is not a cheat code. This is not designed for you to go to Facebook and look at all the birthdays that are going to happen for the rest of this week and make one video and say, hey, friend, happy birthday. And then they're going to send that one video to all 13 of those people on the list. No. That type of efficiency and automation, that's for us. That's for us to say, hey, pat on the back, Chelsea, you just made one video and sent it to 13 people and got your social media engagement all done in 30 seconds. This truly is recognizing the human being on the other side of that screen and doing something that is unscalable, because unscalable is human. And then lastly, what we're not going to do is we're never, ever putting a PS. We're never, ever saying, oh my gosh, it's your birthday, or happy anniversary, or congratulations on your amazing success in whatever. Oh, and by the way, remember, I'm always here to help you if you have any real estate needs. No, 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 no. That's for us. Okay. There is a time and place for us to talk about what you do and how you can help people. And what happens is, if you've ever remember people talking about grammar and they're like, okay, use the word and, not the word but, because if you use but, it sort of negates everything that you just said before that. That's exactly what happens when you try to slide in the polite reminder that you can help them with their real estate needs. Okay. So this is literally a strategy to help you build confidence, train your algorithm. If nothing else, friends, this is actually going to impact your business, even if you never posted in the feed. Now, I'm going to talk about posting in the feed next. Let me just jump in the chat here. And see, Brian says, I have a personal Facebook and 2 business related pages. Does it matter where I send these messages from? Yes. Okay. This is a really good topic. Thank you for throwing this out here, Brian. So Facebook sort of, I'm going to stop my share while I talk about this. Unfortunately, Facebook has kind of gotten many of us into this mindset that we have to have 2 separate worlds. We've got the personal, we've got the business. And that is because we have Facebook business pages. And what's happened with Facebook business pages is that reach, that visibility has been reduced. And mainly because there's only so much room in the feed, right? So they're not going to take out friends and family, because that's the whole point of why we're there. And they're not going to take out ads, because that's how they make money. So if you've noticed a decrease in your reach, engagement, and visibility for Facebook business pages, it's nothing you've done wrong. It's happened to all of us. And so you're going to get more engagement and more reach within your community posting on your personal profile. And so, yes, I would also say that you, the human being, Brian, are being human with that other person. And so you want it to come from your personal side. Now, on Instagram, you don't need 2 accounts. A lot of people ask me, do I need a real estate account on Instagram and a human account on there as well? Now, a lot of us already had 2 accounts because we were so used to Facebook, and we were like, oh, okay, well, I have my human account and I have my real estate account. And so you don't have to have 2 separate accounts. If you already do, that's totally fine. But if you're thinking I should set up a secondary account, I always say the rule is 1 human, 1 business, 1 brand, 1 account. Also, 2 accounts is twice the work. And if anybody has multiple accounts, you know how hard it is to grow just 1. So 2 accounts is going to be a lot. And invariably, what I hear from many, many of the other real estate humans that I connect with is, yeah, I've got this real estate account. It has a bunch of house stuff on it and like market data. And then when I go to post, like not much happens. And I'm kind of like bummed about it. And so then I end up just posting something to post something, and it becomes this like cycle. Then I know I don't want anybody to be in that cycle of like, oh, there is a difference between personal and private, friends. Personal is anything with your face or voice in it, your personality and perspective. It doesn't need to be private. Private is whatever you decide is your boundary. Some people never even show their children. Totally understand that. And that's wonderful for them. So you don't have to overshare. You can still show up and talk about what you do and how you help people and your passion for your community. I think the number 1 takeaway is that there is no original real estate content. Actually, there's no original content like in any industry. The only original content is your perspective, your personality, your hot take, your opinion, the way that you interpret things and break things down, even your weird quirks. I have a lot of weird quirks. And so those are the things that we can infuse into that content, say a market update, where you can actually be in there sharing, and here's what this means for you if you are thinking about buying, selling, etc. So yes, you can have 2 accounts. 2 accounts is twice the work. On Facebook, it is standard practice to have personal and business. And I like to think of my business page as a very optimized website. So posting on there regularly, I think just knowing in the mindset that it likely isn't going to get the same type of engagement, that you would be getting on your personal, but absolutely it is part of the ecosystem of Facebook. Sarita says, I typically post to my business page and then share to my personal. Just clarify for me if it's on Facebook. I'm assuming it is. You can post and then share to your personal. From what I understand, that it's all about the origination of where you're posting it. So there's nothing wrong with sharing. First of all, you can absolutely share in between those pages. You might even just try it to see a little test. If you post it on your page manually and instead of sharing, like just post it on your personal, I'd be interested to see if the personal actually gets more engagement, but there's nothing wrong. Thank you for confirming it's Facebook. There's nothing wrong with posting and sharing. There's actually nothing wrong with cross posting either. If you're on Instagram, you can actually click one of the buttons to share to Facebook if you like to do that. You can share your stories and you can share your posts as well. You will have different audiences on all the platforms. And so what you'll probably find is that when you share something to your Instagram story and then over to your Facebook story, you're going to get different people that engage with each one of those pieces of content. Okay, so the next strategy, which is a perfect segue, is I want to talk about stories, the format of stories. Facebook has stories, Instagram has stories. I think TikTok has stories. LinkedIn had it for a hot minute and then they took it away because I guess I was the only person that was using it. I don't know. But stories is a format that is very similar to Reels, except it disappears. So I'm going to talk about Reels and TikToks, or short form vertical video and stories. Stories, especially on Instagram. So let me know if you're a fan of stories. Just let me know that you're a fan of stories in the chat. Let me know if you're team feed or team stories. I'm team stories, and I'll tell you exactly why. Because I'm lazy. I don't like to create graphics in Canva. Kelly, your team feed. Oh my gosh, I love that. I find it a little bit overwhelming sometimes to create carousel posts and reels. It takes me more time, and then I have to think of like the caption and the hashtags. I love stories because I don't have to think of any of that. I just talk to my phone and I talk to you. And it's fast content creation. I also love that it is so real. Okay. It's unedited, it's raw, it's behind the scenes. And so if you are an Instagram user, and yes, I know Facebook has stories on it, it's still different in Instagram. There's so many more people that are heavily leaning into stories on Instagram than they are on Facebook. And I'm not saying nobody's using them on Facebook, but it just hasn't caught up to Instagram yet. Stories, number one, is going to actually help you create better video because it's going to get you used to talking to the camera in a very unedited, easy way. You don't need a script. You don't need a hook. You don't need all of that. You just need to talk to people. And yeah, Randy says YouTube Shorts now too. So I haven't started that, but I'm actually going to. So that's going to be like in our next section about Captivate. But for the conversion, stories is where it's at, especially on Instagram. If I have any Instagram users here, I would recommend living in your stories. Now, you might hear people say you should be making reels all the time. We're going to get there. I'm not a believer in making reels all the time, and I'll tell you why. But stories is where it's at. Why is that the case? Because showing your face, as I just talked about, we have this neurological need, a biological need to see people's faces. That's how we connect with other people. That's why when you're on a Zoom call, remember when we first started doing Zoom? I mean, we've been doing it for years now, but remember we'd get on Zoom and we'd have like 17 Zoom calls that day and nobody would turn their camera on and you were exhausted and you're like, why am I so tired? I didn't actually go anywhere. I'm just sitting on this meeting. The reason you were tired and are tired is because you have no visual feedback. As human beings, we need to connect with other faces and other people. And so my energy after doing multiple Zooms a day drained, worse than being on multiple stages live, because I am trying to emote more. I'm trying to appear more connected and human, and it takes energy. So faces take you places, which means if I see your face, even if I don't know you repeatedly, I will build likability and it will accelerate trust. There have been a ton of studies that have been done on unedited content, influencer marketing, people seeing behind the scenes. Now, this is where I tell people, this is my pro tip for selling without selling. Tell me you're in real estate without telling me you're in real estate. Or I call it product placement as well. So a lot of people say, I just don't want to go on stories and just constantly talk about houses or listings. Great. You don't necessarily have to. And this is how I personally talk about what I do without talking about what I do. Okay. So I get hired to be a keynote speaker. I'm a coach. Basically, what I could do is I could just take a quick little story right before I'm going to go live in a Zoom like this. And I could say, I'm so excited. I'm just about to jump on this incredible Zoom call with real estate humans. And we're going to be talking about video. That absolutely sends the message that I teach, I do Zoom classes, I speak on particular topics, and that you could hire me for your Zoom classes. I could literally even put at the bottom in text, let me know if you want to book a class. I mean, that's a pretty here in your face, you can hire me, but I'm doing things all day long that show what I do. And so if you were documenting your day, you're preparing for your client meeting, you're going to view some properties, and you don't have to take me on a whole house tour. You could literally show a piece of that house, or maybe you're standing in the kitchen and maybe your story isn't even necessarily about the house, but you could easily slip in there. I'm at my new listing and the funniest thing just happened. You're reminding and priming that, oh, that's right, you're in real estate, because we want to keep reminding people, this is what I do. I'm in the know in the community. And those things can absolutely remind people exactly what you do. So I would recommend too, as a pro tip for your stories, add the poll sticker, POLL, the poll sticker. The poll sticker is a great way to increase your engagement because it's taking the thought out of what I have to do. Sometimes the worst question we can ask is, does anyone have any questions? Because then our brain's like, oh, I have to think of a question. I have to think of a question. And when we're in stories or on social media, we don't have time for that. But when somebody gives you a prompt that's extremely specific, which is like Chat GPT, you've got to give it a very specific prompt. When somebody says, does anybody have any questions about that one-to-one video formula, specifically when I talked about visual Hallmark card? Does anyone have any questions about the messaging? Now your brain is like, oh, yes or no. I either do or I don't. And so a poll sticker is taking that mental load off of the person who is watching or consuming on the other side, and they can say this or that, this or that. Now, what happens when somebody participates and taps the poll sticker? That triggers the algorithm too. And now they're going to resort the stories feed in your favor so that your little story bubble is going to move up to the front of the lineup. And if you consume stories like I do, which I'm assuming you do, we probably don't go like this and go all the way to the end of the stories. You just look at what is there in the first one and you start to click through. I never make it to the end. So as another reminder, you might want to scroll through and start seeing who you're missing, because I guarantee that you have been missing people in your feeds and you're like, oh my gosh, where have you been? It's not their fault. The algorithm is just sorting and serving you content. And sometimes we just get tired and we're looking at those first few things. Kirsty says, I'm just trying to get into the habit of posting regular on my social media. I do 3 videos a week. Wow, that's amazing. I love your idea of the birthday video. I'm trying to work on stories and shorts. I just don't understand how often and what. Okay. Overthinking and shutting down. Welcome to my world. You are not alone, friend. I just overthought and shut down yesterday and didn't post anything. So I completely relate. So stories and reels or shorts. Okay. So stories, There is no perfect number. Okay. I do stories daily, and I honestly do recommend daily. And before everybody's like, oh my gosh, you're crazy. Like daily, I can't do it. I don't post every day to the feed. I never have. A lot of people are shocked to know that I post maximum twice a week in the feed, usually once a week. And I have for years and years. But what I do is I talk to people every single day. You need to lean into what you love. I love talking to people. I think it's easy. I can talk to people at scale. When I was a realtor 23 years ago, my broker would say every single day, how many people did you talk to today? And I would, on a busy day, I was like, 4. I talked to 4. I saw 4 humans today, and it was a full day. I had breakfast with one, and then lunch, and then I went on a listing appointment. Whew, I barely made it to the 4th one. You guys, I could talk to 40 people in minutes if I wanted to through social media. And I don't need a phone number. I don't need a stamp, and I don't need an email. So you can do this communication. I always say less contenting, more commenting. Is you can create a brand and a relationship without posting every single day. Will you grow faster, get more reach and visibility if you do post regularly? Yes. Will you also go into a burnout spiral and lose your mental health and be like, I'm trying to sell houses here, not make content all day? Maybe. I overthink and I go into the burnout spiral. So just have to think about what is sustainable long-term. Can I post 5 days this week with a reel every day? I could. Could I do that for 5 days? Maybe. Could I do it for 5 weeks? How about 5 years? No, I know myself. Some people get joy out of that. If that's you, I love that. I'm just letting you know that you can have different styles. Consistency is the most important. You are not being ranked against any other user. Meaning, if Randy posts every single day and I only post once a week, I'm not going to get punished because Randy's posting every single day. Will he see different results faster? Probably. But what happens is the algorithm's looking at a baseline. So it's looking, is Randy posting every day this week and then going like radio silent for a month? Is he then coming back and posting twice and then 3 times a day? So it's looking for a baseline. So consistency doesn't mean daily. That's the goal. I post daily to stories because it's fast and easy and it brings me joy. I post once a week, sometimes twice a week to the feed. And that content takes me longer because I'm usually making educational content or telling a story in that. Some people love the feed. They hate stories. And reels, okay? Or I should say short form vertical video. And this is the third part, okay? The captivate. So the confidence was 1-to-1. Conversion is using stories and direct messaging people in the stories. Now, one more thing I want to tell you about stories before I move on to short form vertical video is that, I just lost it. It'll come back to me. So the short form vertical videos is Reels or YouTube Shorts or TikTok. It's a mouthful to say short form vertical videos. Okay. I'm just going to say Reels, but just know that it's just a short video. It's vertical, meaning like this. Every video you do on social media, except for YouTube, needs to be up and down, vertical like this. This is how we used to shoot it. Right? We used to shoot it like this and it would go on YouTube. You can still do this on YouTube for the main longer form videos. YouTube Shorts, believe it or not, is actually vertical as well. So short form vertical video is very similar to a story in the sense that it's vertical and it's short. I'm not going to make a 10-minute reel. You can't even make a 10-minute reel. We're making a minute, maybe 30 seconds. And stories are going to disappear after 24 hours. Reels are going to stay around forever. They're going to build your content library. Another really important thing that you should write down: stories only is seen by people that follow you. Stories is only seen by people in your community, your followers. And that's great because it's less stress. You're not getting a whole bunch of strangers that are looking at your content and they're connecting with you and they're talking to you and they're sending you direct messages and you're having these private 1-to-1 conversations. Then we get into Reels and TikToks and whatever else they're going to call them. And those primarily go out to people that don't follow you. So for growth strategy, for reach and visibility, you're going to use a short form vertical video. You're going to post a reel. And let's say you do that once a week. Okay. So you're going to post one reel. It's going to go out to people that don't follow you. And these people aren't just random. These people, they're going to be people that are interested in your particular topic, which is why you need to pick a topic. And I'm not saying never veer from only posting real estate content. But if you're going to consistently post about real estate in your neighborhood, the algorithm gets smart. It knows that's what your topic is about. And so it's not going to serve your content to people who are not at all interested in that city or not at all interested in real estate. And so when my content gets served, primarily it gets served to real estate humans. Yay, that's a win for me because I don't coach dentists. So it wouldn't help me if I got a whole bunch of dentists that were watching my real estate marketing videos. So reels are going to go out to people that don't know you. Do some of your people see it? Yes, they do. Okay. So this is a strategy for growth. They're going to come to your profile. Hopefully they're going to follow you. And then they're going to build the like, no trust with stories. So one is going to help you get found by new people. One is going to help you go deeper with the people that you already have. So what's happening here is Instagram is kind of becoming a funnel, if you will. So the top of the funnel is reels, and then they're going to go to your profile, and then they're going to follow you, and then they're going to get to like, no trust with your stories and eventually convert. So that's kind of how that's working now. So you have to use both. I would lean into what you love. If you love making reels, but you hate stories, well, you're still going to have to do stories every now and then. And I will tell you that I story a lot, and the total time spent, less than 90 seconds, because I'm doing a clip here, a picture, a 10-second video. It may feel like I'm doing a lot, but I'm only investing a couple minutes in making the content. The rest of my time is engaging with other humans. So you want to do stories daily, and you want to post to the feed at least once a week. If you can do twice a week, awesome. But don't feel like you have to do every single day. It becomes overwhelming. So what I personally do is I will post either a picture or a carousel in Instagram and then a reel. Sometimes I post 2 reels, but I try to mix it up because I know not everybody I don't like watching videos all the time. And honestly, I get bored. And so I like to mix it up. And I'm like, oh, let me do a picture here. Let me do a video here. So that's how I personally mix it up. But I don't actually create a content calendar. I just write down all of the questions that people send to me, and I make content about that. Now, one pro tip that I'm going to give you about reels, YouTube shorts, any video. Okay. Let's just call it any video. A couple of tips. Number one, how you start matters. We don't have 3 seconds, because if you think about your phone and you're sitting here and you're scrolling, right? Remember, these short form videos are going out to people that don't know you yet. So I don't have a relationship with you yet. So if I'm scrolling like this, I'm not going to go 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000 scroll. You don't have 3 seconds. You literally have half a second when someone's going like this. Okay. So how you start matters. What we don't want to start with is an introduction. It sounds something like this. Hey, everyone, it's Chelsea Peitz with Fill in the Blank Brokerage. And today we're going to talk about 1, 2, 3, blah, 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 blah. So you've already lost me at hey, everyone, and that introduction. Or if I said, this is Chelsea, or hi, I'm Chelsea, you're losing people with that intro. So what I would recommend instead is asking a question right off the bat. Do you want to know? Have you ever wondered? It's like any question at all, because that is actually going to get right into the topic. And a question primes the mind, like, oh my gosh, you're talking to me. So look at your old content that you've already posted and think about, how can I make this into a reel? And so let's say you have a listing in your favorite neighborhood and it's 1.1 million. Okay, great. So instead of saying, hey, I'm Chelsea with this brokerage, and today we're going to tour my $1.1 million listing in wherever, you could simply say, do you want to know what $1 million buys you in whatever city? And then you can kind of go into the video from there. So the other pro tip, friends, 2 more pro tips. Every single video you do, whether it's stories or a reel, the only way I'm going to let you out of this one is the 1-to-1 video. But every other video that's going to be posted to the world has to have closed captioning, which is like those subtitles. So like when I'm talking, it's got the text so that it can be read. So there's a really important reasons that you need to have this. Number one, everybody always tells me I need to get more engagement. I want more watch time. I want people to actually watch my video. Well, we're going to work on that first by changing your introduction. Because if they're not watching seconds 0 to 3, they're not sticking around for 3 to 30. It's just not going to happen. The next one is, okay, how do we increase watch time? Well, what if I'm in a public spot and I don't have my volume on? Or my husband's watching TV next to me and I don't want to be rude and have my volume on, so I'm consuming with no sound. 90% of the people that are going to be consuming video on social have no sound on by choice, for whatever reason it may be. And so I'm not going to watch your video of your mouth moving and have no concept of what it is that you're saying. Also, I'm neurodivergent. I don't know if anybody else can relate to this, but if I want to consume something and understand it, I need to read it and hear it at the same time. So whatever the reasons are, it's incredibly important to provide people multiple ways to consume your content. And if I don't know what you're saying, I will not watch it. I will not share it. I will not engage with it. Nothing. I'm just going to go on to the next person that has that ability so that I can consume it in ways that I want to. Good news is that all of these platforms are allowing you to push a button and it will add those captions in. And it's pretty easy to do. The last tip that I have for you is it's very important we just talked about that verbal hook, that first line of your video. We also, and I'm going to show you a picture of this, we need to let people know within a glance what your video content is all about. So let me find this slide because I want to share this with you so you can see what I'm talking about. The frame/cover photo, that's what I call it. It's basically the very first few seconds of your video. Let me share my screen here. Here we go. Okay, so this is my friend/business partner, Giselle, and these are some of her reels. Okay, this could be YouTube Shorts, it could be Reels, it could be TikToks, okay, any video. Remember, I don't know her yet in most cases. Maybe I saw a reel and it intrigued me. And so then I went to her profile. And now I'm looking at the rest of this content library, and I want you to imagine that every single title is gone. So now we just have pictures of her face. And I have no clue what she's talking about. And I'm not going to watch any of these videos if I have no clue what she's talking about, because I just don't have the time. So what is happening here is if your videos, so this is your homework assignment, go to your profile on Instagram, go to your profile on TikTok, wherever you're making videos. Is it easy for me to understand what each one of these videos is all about? Because maybe I came because she gave me a video tip. But I'm scrolling through here and I'm like, oh, wait a minute. What's the best editing app? I wasn't even planning on watching that, but actually I've been interested in that. Let me watch that one too. And now I'm in a rabbit hole consuming that content. Earlier, we talked about verifying your who you are and if you are adept or competent at what you can do. Well, I'm going to scan this and be like, wow, she's got a lot of content about videos. So I'm going to assume that she is competent at being a video coach because she's made 30, 40, 50 videos about it. So if you're making videos about your particular neighborhood, I'm going to assume that you have expertise in that particular area. So it's very important that you have what we call the visual hook too, which is just simply adding text. And if you are familiar with creating Reels or TikToks, you can set a text timer and that text will stay on the screen for a designated amount of time. Because remember, if I'm scrolling like this, I'm waiting for something to grab my attention. I may not have the sound on. I may not hear your hook, but what I'll do is I'll see your hook. I'll see your title. I'll see that context and I'll say, wait a minute, I'm interested in this particular, and I'm going to stop the scroll and then I might start reading your captions. So these are all really simple, but super effective ways to increase your watch time on any video on any platform. And it's very easy now to go back. Like, let's pretend you're like, oh my gosh, I totally forgot to add cover photos or a first frame text. You can actually go back now and you can edit your reels and add what they call a cover photo. I realize that is a tedious manual process. You may or may not want to go back and do that with your previous videos, but you can. But I would, again, make it functional, not fancy. Functional, not fancy. The cute curly Q fonts and the light colors, the pastels, I can't read it. And we got to make sure the text is big enough so that when we're scrolling, we can actually see it too. And I know some people are like, yeah, but that's not really that cute. It's kind of blocky and it just looks kind of not on brand. And I'm like, listen, it's about, are people going to be able to read it? Because if I can't read it, then I'm not going to watch the video. So I realize if you are an aesthetic lover, that this might be like, oh, I don't know, it's not as cute as I'd like it or on brand as I'd like it. You really can change the background of the font and make it your colors of your brand if that's important to you. But it has to be about functionality, not being fancy, because that's what we want people to be able to do, is clearly understand what your content is all about. Randy, I know we've got a few minutes left, so just wanted to throw it over to you if you had anything you wanted to add or any other questions that you wanted to throw out to the group.
Yeah, I think that you hit on just a ton of great information, but I want people to understand that you make this know, like, and trust point by what I call these micro connections, right? When Chelsea and I became friends, we were introduced by somebody else, right? There's one thing. Then we realize that we have a lot in common. We start to find in discovery and being in the mountains, etc. When you connect and bring new people into your environment, you might not know that they like cats or they're food people or whatever, but every time that you're posting non-real estate related stuff, you're making these little connections with people. And having 5+ years experience in the CRM industry and real estate and being able to analyze all of this stuff that was just sent. People are spending all this time, and we all know the coaches like, work your CRM, work your CRM. You can work your CRM with scalable content, but quite frankly, the goal should try to be able to work them into your social media so you can actually connect with them at a human level. And I think that that's a really cool way to hack yourself to increase your following, because let's just say you buy some Zillow leads, right? You can say, hey, I'm here, I got your information. You could do a screenshot of your Instagram. Like if you want to get to know me or learn more about me, throw that in your CRM, right? With a link that then goes to your Instagram. Everybody, for the most part, has one of these, right? These Instagram or Facebook or whatever it is. So focusing on driving that traction to build that likability and that connection with somebody where you're acting like a human, like Chelsea was talking about. I agree with you. I hate going to real estate related social media pages and they're these like standard, just listed, just sold. It's the standard stuff, right? And you see it and you don't really know what that person's about. You don't see the vacation or you don't see those types of things. So I'm a big proponent of sprinkling it all in and don't just do real estate. Just like, okay, there's nothing for me to learn unless you do like crazy historical homes or mansions or whatever, where there is a reason to attract people. So those were some of the things that I wanted to add. I think that those are really good ways. And if you want to cut down on your conversion and having to do multiple things with CRM and sending bomb videos, etc., drive them to the place where you can connect with them automatically. And you have to do a lot less work in your CRM, which everybody would love.
Yeah, I mean, if I could have a perfect world, it would be all the people in my CRM, because I have one too, friends. I build my email list, and we don't know if these are going to be gone tomorrow, right? So I build my email list, and I'm focused on that. I don't have a huge email list, but I have 9,000 humans on it. And these are people that I really am trying to be connected with on the socials, because that's where they can also really connect with me. I love tools like BombBomb. It's the amazing way to stay in contact with people and show them your face and give them an update on what's happening with their transaction. It doesn't have to be an either or. The beauty is you can have these awesome humans in your email database, your CRM. You can have some of them. It doesn't have to be all of them, and you don't have to hit all of them the same day. but you could, send them a message, make their day, you could connect with them. And now they're feeling like they're seeing you in multiple places and it's on their terms. Because when Randy scrolls through and sees that I just went to Montana, which by the way, he mentioned, but he never left me a comment, but he saw it. He's connecting and consuming. And he said, hey, how was Montana? Like that looked really fun. And so what's happening is people are consuming and connecting. And you're going to run into someone and they're never going to have commented. And you're going to be like, oh, you've watched my videos? Like, I don't remember you commenting. And like, oh, no, we didn't comment, but we watch your stuff. You're on their terms. I'm not like saying, Randy, check out my video I just took in Montana. He's scrolling through the feed and on his terms was like, oh, that's cool. And so we have this mindset that if we don't have a metric for everything, it had no value. If we don't get a like, if we don't get a comment, if we don't get a share, we've got to let that go. And I'm talking to myself too, because if I don't get views on something immediately, I'm like, oh no, it was terrible, right? Because that's how we're trained. This is product psychology. And so we have to remember that people are connecting and consuming. We're busy, we're lazy, we're lurkers. I don't want to comment on everything. I just want to go like this and I want to consume and watch everything. Once in a while, I'll comment. So we have to get out of this mindset that my content has no value if I don't get comments, engagement, likes, views, etc. Because somebody is going to be watching that and they're not going to tell you they watched it. And they're going to run into you 2 months from now and say, you know what? I know that you were talking about this on your stories. And I just wanted to say thank you because I was really struggling with that too. And you're like, oh my God, why didn't you say anything? You never know who is connecting while they're consuming. So we do need to change that mindset around metrics because it can feel like it's crickets out there and you need to up your engagement with your community and they will then reciprocate as well. Julie asked, would you make the thumbnails in Canva? You know what, friend, I used to. And then I was like, I don't have time for this because if I'm like, forget it. You know what I do is I just add the text inside of Reels. I'll just add my title. I keep it simple. And every app that you can make a video on will allow you to basically take a screen grab of any of the frames of the video. And that's all I do. I just take a screen grab of it. Some people are like, yeah, but what if your face is all weird? The weirder, the better. I'm here for it. Like, I want people to stop and see. I don't care if it's like, and I have like, my text. So I don't take that time anymore to do it. I did. And then I was like, this is an excuse for me. I won't post it because I don't have time to make a Canva template. Sri says, that's right there is what I needed to hear because I always feel like I'm talking to a void. Yes. Oh my gosh. We all feel that way. Tag me next time, Sarita. I will make sure you're not talking into a void. And please, I want everybody to connect. The best place to connect with me is on Instagram. It's my first and last name. It does have a blue verified check mark. There's a lot of scams out there and a lot of fake accounts. We could have a whole nother session about that. Send me a DM if there was a question that you didn't get to ask, or if you just need someone to make sure that they know that your content is going to get a comment. I will be happy to support you with that too. All right, awesome. Randy, anything else?
I think that's it. Thank you for your time.
Yeah, thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Thanks, everyone. I can't wait to see everybody on the socials. Have an amazing week. Thanks, guys. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks. We appreciate you.
Bye.
Thank you.